Regular meeting number 17 will now come to order. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem.
Good and gracious God, we thank you for this time of year to get into the swing of things with bats, sticks, rackets, and clubs. May we find time for recreation and exercise to counterbalance the demands of work and other stress-producing activities. We thank you for those in the community who seek to enhance the quality of health care by assuring cultural competence of practitioners as we honor the multi-ethnic advocates for cultural competence. May their efforts continue to bear fruit. During this month of April, we pray for those who are victims of child abuse and neglect and support activities that will lead to a greater prevention of this intolerable social disease. We pray for the education of our young people, that all concerned entities will be able to work together to provide the best system from which to provide a quality education. And we pray for wisdom and counsel for members of City Council as they begin a new meeting. May their efforts lead to successful resolution. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Craig Klein, Miller Mills, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal?
So moved.
Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller Mills, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. This week's communications received by the City Clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the City Bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Any resolutions or announcements from members of Council? Councilmember Craig.
Thank you very much, President Ginther. I want to recognize this evening Mr. Tom Moe. Colonel Moe is the Director of Veterans Affairs for the state of Ohio. I'm going to ask the Director if he'll please approach the podium. As the Director is approaching the podium, I'm going to share some of his background. Tom Moe serves as the serves in the cabinet of Governor John Kasich as Director of the Ohio Department of Veterans Services, a continuing career of more than 46 years of military and public service. Tom enlisted in the U.S. Navy Reserves in 1961 and also entered Capital University, where he earned a regular commission in the U.S. Air Force through ROTC. He was trained as an F-4 fighter pilot and assigned to combat duty in Da Nang in 1967. He flew 85 combat missions, 65 of them over North Vietnam. His aircraft was downed as a result of weapons malfunctioning in 1968. He evaded capture for 3 days, but then caught and was held as a POW for more than 5 years until his repatriation in 1973. Tom continued in the Air Force career and retired as a colonel in 1995. His military awards include 2 Silver Stars, Bronze Star with the device, 2 Purple Hearts, 7 Air Medals, the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Defense Superior Service Medal, and 2 Legions of Merit. Tom has continued his public service in various positions and received many awards. He was inducted into the Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame in 2009. In May 2013, he will be inducted into the Ohio Military Hall of Fame for valor. Tom and his wife, Chris, live in Lancaster, Ohio. I wanted to bring Colonel Moe to council. He was instrumental in the Ohio Vietnam Veterans Commemoration. And I want to say publicly, certainly to Director Moe and all of the Vietnam veterans, welcome home. It's been 40 years, and this was a real opportunity, the week of March the 23rd through the 29th, to really honor our veterans, to really share with our city and our nation of their accomplishments, of their sacrifice. And I wanted to certainly personally recognize and thank Colonel Moe for his service. Sir, please, the podium is yours, and I'd like for you to have an opportunity to speak today.
Well, thank you, Councilmember Craig. Mr. President, council members, it's truly an honor to be here, really not on my own behalf, but as a representative of the approximately 900,000 veterans in the state of Ohio. Ohio ranks as the 6th largest state for veterans population, and it's truly a pleasure and an honor to be part of the organization that helps identify who they are, connect them to their benefits, which may include medical benefits or educational benefits, and to advocate for them as well. I have to say that this is the first time in this building. I'm very impressed by the beauty of it and the hard work that goes on here in the heart of Ohio, but not the first time that I've worked with the city of Columbus. I'm very pleased to be working on a frequent basis with the mayor's office, particularly with Rick Isbell, who is absolutely a tremendous representative of veterans for the city of Columbus. I started my career, as Council Member Craig pointed out, in the Navy here in Columbus, a little tiny base that I think there's a restaurant there now at the confluence of the rivers. I was a 17-year-old seaman going to college at the same time, and eventually switched over to the Air Force to become an Air Force pilot and to find a way to serve my country and my family in that capacity. As Council Member Craig so generously pointed out, we had the pleasure of honoring our Vietnam-era veterans in an official way. Technically, for the second time, we established in the state of Ohio a day of commemoration last year, March 30th. But the governor, when he signed the bill, said, you do next year up big because this is the 40th anniversary, an important milestone, and something that I think often escapes us in today's day-to-day busy life. But many, many of our veterans from that era were never welcomed home. And I don't speak about myself. As a matter of fact, I'm humbled by the reception that former POWs received when we came home. It was only 500 or 600 of us. But we were welcomed in the media. President Nixon brought us to the White House. And this was absolutely an honor. But in comparison to the nearly 300,000 veterans of this state alone who were never welcomed and, on the contrary, were spat at or disparaged, we had a chance to set things right this year for many of those veterans for the first time, and it was a pleasure to do so. The commemoration lasted over a period of a week. Normally, our official day of commemoration is March 30th, the first day when all Vietnam combat troops from Vietnam were no longer there and were home to be welcomed. But because of the Easter weekend, we deferred to the individuals celebrating that holiday. And not only that, but we wanted to have a week-long commemoration. And the commemoration was in two parts. I've mentioned the welcome home aspect of that, but just as important and more somber was to remember the fallen that we will never forget, especially those who have never been accounted for. And so we brought in at one of the moving walls, a replica of the Vietnam Wall, and in that location alone, we had more than 4,000 visitors during those 3 days that the wall was up. Very, very moving time. There were other events as well. We had a formal dinner Wednesday evening with 2 noted speakers, internationally renowned, and many guests from around the city and the state and the country even visiting us for that event, plus a number of panels. I've mentioned some of the statistics regarding the Ohio Department of Veteran Services. And once again, I think it's important to stress our mission because we can work as a team to help carry that mission out. Number one, to identify our veterans, often very difficult to do because of the way that we receive information about those veterans. So we have a number of issues that we work to identify who they are. And I ask Mr. President and council members for your assistance. If you know of a veteran who is not receiving attention that he or she needs, please let me know who they are. I will leave my cards here. Our website, dvs.ohio.gov, provides a direct link to me as well. So identifying our vets and then connecting them to those benefits is really our primary mission, and we carry it out with great pride. We also have, which is not widely known, but we have 2 nursing homes, one of them located near Cincinnati in Brown County, and another quite large home up in Sandusky, the largest nursing home in the state, and both homes receiving the highest accolades, both from its members, the most important accolades, but also our inspections from the health department and from the VA. So once again, Mr. President, council members, Councilmember Craig, thanks for the honor of being here today. And should you have any questions, Mr. President, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Well, this is a time, it was a difficult time in our nation's history, and this certainly is a time for healing. So we certainly wanted to recognize you in an appropriate way, and I'd ask my colleagues and those of us if we would stand and honor you in an appropriate way. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just finally have one additional announcement. The City of Columbus Community Relations Commission will be holding Yom HaShoah, the Yom HaShoah observance, the Holocaust observance, featuring the survivor testimony of Sharon Silver this Friday, April the 12th. That will be in council chambers, 12 o'clock p.m. Councilmember Paley, would you like to share any comments?
Thank you, Councilmember Craig. I thank you for this event. It is important that our children and our children's children remember the atrocity of the Holocaust. And it's a really moving event if you haven't been here before, and I encourage all those who wish to join us for that event to come, and thank you for doing that. Thank you, Councilmember Craig.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilmember Craig. Councilmember Klein.
Thank you, President Ginther. I didn't have any comments coming out onto the floor, but then read on my way out here that the Ohio House of Representatives stripped the Medicaid expansion from the Ohio budget and are going to propose that the Medicaid expansion not be accepted by the state of Ohio. I can only find that decision heartless and misguided, and I implore the House of Representatives to put the Medicaid expansion back in the budget. It's $13 billion that this federal government is going to be giving the state of Ohio for the next 3 years, only to be scaled down to Ohio's responsibility will be up to 10% by the year 2020 to ensure 275,000 people in the state of Ohio The Ohio House should be ashamed of themselves for doing this. It's something I'm very passionate about, providing health care to those that need it. And I only hope that in the legislative process that our legislators find the compassion, the fortitude, and the brains to put it back in. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Klein. President Pro Tem Miller. Councilmember Mills. Councilmember Paley.
I have a couple of announcements. Some happy news about the City of Columbus. Columbus received the Green City Award for its curbside recycling program Thursday. The Green City Award, presented by the Waste and Recycling News, honors municipalities' recycling programs for their diversion successes, community outreach, and educational efforts. More than 60 communities were nominated for the award, and Columbus Ward won the large community category, beating out Atlanta and Sacramento County. So congratulations to the City of Columbus for the Green City Award. Another interesting winner for this week is I want to congratulate our own C.C. Harris. Miss Annette C.C. Harris, who works in the mayor's office, was crowned Miss Ohio Plus America for 2013. And C.C. will represent Ohio in the national competition in July in Louisiana. And we wish her the best of luck. Congratulations, C.C. I also wanted to make note that last week we had our annual Snow Warriors breakfast with Public Utilities and Recreation and Parks employees also, and I wanted to thank Director Kelsey for his hard work with the Snow Warriors. We absolutely have the best Snow Warriors in the nation, and they are out all hours and weekends helping us with snow events, and I would like to thank them again, even though I did at the breakfast, for all the hard work, and thank Director Kelsey for everything he does for the Snow Warriors. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Paley. Councilmember Tyson.
Yes, I have a resolution this evening, but I also like to echo Councilmember Klein's comments in regards to the House of Representatives. Health care is a basic right, and we need to make sure certainly that the individuals who certainly are the neediest in terms of their health care need to be able to have a right to having the proper care. So, Councilmember Klein, I appreciate your comments, and certainly wish the House of Representatives certainly wish that they would take another look at this and do whatever is necessary to make sure people have access to quality health care. Thank you for those comments. I have resolution number 0076-2013, and I'm going to ask Kristen Rost and Felicia Saunders to come to the podium. And this is a resolution to declare April of 2013 to be National Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month in Columbus. Whereas Franklin County Children's Services annually receives more than 28,000 reports of suspected child abuse or neglect, and over 500,000 American children suffer neglect or abuse every year. And whereas a healthy and knowledgeable family unit is the strongest defense against child abuse. And whereas valued friends and neighbors can help ensure families get the support they need by generously offering their time, taking a positive and active role in children's lives, and fostering a safe and trusted environment for young people to learn and grow. And whereas the Ohio Children's Trust Fund was created in 1984 to prevent child abuse and neglect by investing in strong communities, healthy families, and safe children. And whereas National Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month provides an excellent opportunity for residents to learn more about the programs and activities that help that prevent child abuse and provide for children's physical, emotional, and developmental needs. And whereas April 10th of 2013 has been designated Wear Blue Day, both locally and nationally, to show support for the battle against child abuse. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council hereby declares that April of 2013 is National Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month in Columbus, and renews our sincere commitment to break the cycle of violence, to provide care, stability, and support to all who have been affected. I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller Mills, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. Kristen or Felicia.
Thank you. Council President Ginther, Councilmember Tyson, and members of council. On behalf of the Ohio Children's Trust Fund, I want to thank you for this beautiful resolution. Did a wonderful job summing up what we do. I just wanted to echo again what the resolution said, that the mission of the trust fund is to prevent child abuse and neglect through investing in strong communities, healthy families, and safe children. An awareness of child abuse and neglect and the role that we each can play as individuals in strengthening families is the first step in prevention. Awareness is the first step. As we already learned, April is Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month. It's a time where we all should pause and recognize that we each can play a part in making our communities a better place for children and families by ensuring that parents have the knowledge, skills, and resources they need to care for their children. We can help promote children's social and emotional well-being and prevent child maltreatment within families and communities throughout the state of Ohio. Research shows that when parents possess 6 protective factors, the risk for neglect and abuse diminish and optimal outcomes for children, youth, and families are promoted. The 6 protective factors are nurturing and attachment, knowledge of parenting and of child and youth development, parental resilience, social connections, concrete supports for parents and families, social and emotional developmental well-being. April is a time to celebrate the important role that all communities play in protecting children, not just in April, but throughout the year, and to remind us that everyone's participation is critical. We all know that every family has its strengths as well as its share of challenges, and sometimes it takes a little extra help to get throughout the day. Prevention is as simple as offering to babysit for a sleep-deprived mother, offering words of encouragement to a screaming toddler's parents on an airplane, or preparing a meal for a late working neighbor so that they have more time to spend with their children. In performing these acts, we are building and enhancing protective factors within those whom we are helping while simultaneously diminishing the risk that the immediate challenge or stress the person is facing will escalate to a severe level of abuse or neglect. The more each of us can build and enhance these protective factors within ourselves as well as within those around us on a daily basis, the more effective we will be as a community in preventing abuse and neglect. And so to help us to remember our role in preventing child maltreatment throughout April, the pinwheel is the symbol, and I think you each have pins, and so we ask that you wear them. It's a symbol of hope. It's also a symbol of somebody who stood up for families, for children. And then also, as Councilmember Tyson said, April 10th is the day that we ask everyone to wear blue in support. And so, again, thank you so much. Thank you for joining the Trust Fund and preventing child abuse and neglect. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilmember Mills.
I just want to say what a great job with the campaign that I've noticed this year. You all have really been out there. The pinwheels at COSI are beautiful, as well as capturing during spring break where there are high traffic areas. It really gets the message out. So I thought that was a very important step for our city. And my 11-year-old nephew noticed, and he couldn't understand why someone would hurt a child. I explained what the pinwheels were there for, and he said, why would somebody do that? And so your message is getting out there, and it's getting there everywhere. So great job on the communications and getting the message about prevention.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down this evening and certainly sharing the acts that each of us can do. They seem like they're small acts, but certainly they go a long way and helping someone hopefully not being able to abuse their child. So thank you for coming down, the work that you do each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Next, I'd ask Mr. William Hall, the Executive Director of Serve Ohio, and I think there's a whole contingency of folks from some outstanding organizations in Columbus and Central Ohio, the YWCA of Columbus, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Ohio, City Year Columbus, this group called Children's Hunger Alliance, and Homeport are here, and some outstanding members of the AmeriCorps Senior Corps, and other national service programs that are here. Ask them to come on forward to the front. Come right on across. This is great to have you all here. I'd asked for Council's consideration for 0082X-2013 around April 9th as being recognized as the Mayor's Day of Recognition for National Service nationwide. The goal is to highlight the impact of AmeriCorps, Senior Corps, and other national service programs in tackling local problems and managing volunteers for greater impact, and to thank national service members for their commitment. The day is designed to spotlight the impact of national service rather than being another large-scale service day. This initiative was announced at the U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting on January 17th. Corporation for National and Community Service promotes citizen service through a number of programs, including AmeriCorps, VISTA, RSVP, the Foster Grandparent, and Senior Companion programs. Columbus is home to a number of these programs, including City Year Columbus, Project Mentor, Homeport, Children's Hunger Alliance, YWCA of Columbus, and many other AmeriCorps programs. Columbus also hosts active RSVP, Senior Companion, and Foster Grandparent programs, among other AmeriCorps VISTA placements. These programs and the volunteers they engage provide critical services to communities and citizens and help engage others in volunteer service. We are so proud of you, the work, the commitment you've made to improving the lives of the people of Columbus, and we appreciate you coming down here tonight and letting us recognize you for that great service and all that you're going to continue to do in our great city and in the community. So with that, I move for adoption of 0082X.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller Mills, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Resolution adopted. Mr. Hall, would you come forward to the podium, make any comments? I've got multiple copies of resolutions, both from council and proclamations from Mayor Coleman, to distribute some of these outstanding folks this evening. But if you want to talk a little bit about this and maybe introduce, if I hopefully haven't left out any organizations or if there are individuals you want to introduce. But Mr. Hall, podium's yours.
Great. Thank you, President Ginther, council members. As I know, most of you in this room are extremely familiar with AmeriCorps and National Service. We appreciate your support in the efforts that we try to do here in Columbus and throughout Ohio. Currently, there are 1,400 AmeriCorps members serving in Ohio in 30-some programs in the fields of education, health and public safety, environmental stewardship, economic development, and over the course of a year, a full-time member will serve 1,700 hours of service to the community. We look at this as twofold. Not only as an impact to the direct community, but it's a tremendous professional development experience for the member as well. And actually, I would like to have a member or two speak. If we could do that, that'd be great. Do I have a volunteer? They're very shy at the moment. Okay, here we go. We have...
My name is Ian Wiseman, and this is actually my second year doing AmeriCorps. My first year, I had just come out of college. Not really sure what I wanted to do, but I realized that I knew just as little about the city of Columbus as when I first moved here for my undergrad at Ohio State. I got involved with AmeriCorps at Big Brothers Big Sisters because growing up, I heard about kids who were underprivileged and may not have had the best childhood that I received. And being part of Big Brothers Big Sisters helped me reach out to those kids. Sorry, I get emotional when I think about this. The kids that we serve don't have the same opportunities as people like my friends and my parents were used to, and finding volunteers who want to make an impact on their lives and teach not only the kids about what they can achieve if they try, but show the volunteers that they do have an opportunity to make an impact in our current education system and in the community of Columbus. Doing that has been more rewarding and fulfilling than I could ever imagine. So that's why I signed up for a second year of AmeriCorps, and why after my term at AmeriCorps ends, I want to continue serving my community, whether it's at Big Brothers Big Sisters or any other organization that strives to make an impact. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Exel. I proudly serve with City Year Columbus at Lyndon McKinley STEM Academy. Panther Pride forever. I am a second-year City Year Corps member. I am a team leader, and it has been my privilege to serve in this community. And just like my peer AmeriCorps member said, I am truly passionate about the service that I am doing, and I will be in Columbus for as long as I can be here to change the lives of the people that we are working with, whether it be in the classroom, because City Year we're tutors, mentors, coaches, and outside of the community too, working with St. Stephen's and Godman Guild and any Boys and Girls Club, all the really awesome organizations. So I thank you for giving us this opportunity to serve. I really appreciate it. Sorry.
Wow. I think I'm just keeping the seat warm for you, and I hope you'll be kind to this old soul. I'm going to put everybody on the spot, just hearing from these two members. If you'd introduce just yourself and the organization you're serving at, and anything else, but at least your name and organization you're working with, and we're going to start at that end.
My name is Andrea Boudreau, and I serve at the YWCA Columbus. I am the garden coordinator there, so I'm able to manage a 26-plot garden. We've extended it to also have an orchard, a greenhouse. So we are able to not only donate the food to the kitchen at the YWCA, but we're able to teach families, the adults, the children about growing their own food, how to manage their food money, and how to eat more healthily. That's my position.
My name is Hannah Basing, and I also work at the YWCA Columbus, and I work in the aftercare department. So basically what I do is I call families and check up with them 2, 6, and 10 weeks after they've left, just to make sure that they're doing all right and kind of inform them of different resources in the community in case they need help with things like rent or utility assistance or furniture or anything like that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alicia Bicknell, and this is my second year as an AmeriCorps member at Homeport, formerly known as Columbus Housing Partnership. Last year I worked as an after-school leader in one of our communities near Canal Winchester, and this year my title is Parent Engagement and Volunteerism. So I work with all the communities to put on community events such as like the back-to-school rallies and those.
Hello, my name is Gloria Davis Black, and I'm a second year AmeriCorps member. I serve at Marsh Run, which is a community directly in my own community. So I do get an opportunity to share and give back to the children that are directly linked to me, which is a great opportunity that I was able to do this. Is not only for me giving back, it's me getting something also from my community, and I'm just here to plant seeds and hope that they grow, and I will be around, even though I'm not doing another year, but I will be around to check on to make sure that those seeds flourish very well. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Shriver. I'm a second year AmeriCorps member. I'm currently an AmeriCorps member at the Children's Hunger Alliance. Most of my service time is spent in after-school programs teaching the importance of nutrition and physical activity to the students. We also are in food pantries teaching the importance of nutrition to those who
take the opportunity and use the services of the food pantries. So that's most of my time spent at the Children's Hunger Alliance.
I'm Sarah Goldberg. I'm also at Children's Hunger Alliance. So like Stephanie said, we do the nutrition education, the physical activity classes. So it's something really important for the kids, and it affects their everyday life and their school performance. So I feel like we're really making a difference when we do that.
My name is Danielle Ross. I serve with Ian at Big Brothers Big Sisters with the Project Mentor program. I moved to Columbus in July, and I had been a teacher for 4 years, and I wanted to do something where I could still work with kids and make a difference, but not be in a classroom anymore. And so I started serving at AmeriCorps with Big Brothers Big Sisters. It's been a great experience, and it's a great program, Project Mentor.
And I am Jake Hammond. I also proudly serve at Big Brothers Big Sisters with Ian and Danielle. And as you already know, we do a lot of things with the school system. And thankfully, I've gotten to work with these two incredible people. In the summer, I also served a summer term with Westerville Area Resource Ministry, where we provided summer lunches to underprivileged populations as well. So thank you.
A very impressive reflection of some great programs. I know a couple of members might know something about AmeriCorps or City Year or something like that. So any comments from council members? Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you. Thank you, President Ginther. And first, I want to say congratulations to each of these young people who are serving in our community. And certainly, thinking back to even the start of AmeriCorps, that certainly was an idea of President Bush's and then President Clinton. Went back to 1994, 1995, and I remember having the opportunity to testify to get in Congress to get dollars for this program. And so just thank you for the work that you do. These are incredible young people, and certainly I will tell you this, our community will not be able to continue to move forward without the help of these wonderful young people. And I'm hopeful that the federal government will not cut the dollars for these types of programs, because they are instrumental for young people, for not only for their growth and their own success, to work with diverse groups of people and to improve their leadership skills, but also for the young people that they work with, that they can easily relate to them, because these are young people who are serving. And so they are, as the group just talked about, we gave the resolution to around child abuse, how important it is to make sure you have, a caring mentor with our young people. And that's what the AmeriCorps program is all about. And so I listened to they're at Big Brothers Big Sisters, they're at City Year, they're at working with Homeport. They're working with our children. And our children, if you're just kind of listening to what's going on right now with the Columbus Education Commission and just looking at different reports, that our young people need young people like this to be able to work with them and to help them to move forward. They play a critical role in our community. We are so thankful to have you, and we just need to keep making sure that there are funds to support the work that you do, because you are changing people's lives and changing your own. And these young people are the types of young people we want to have in our community to work with our businesses, because once you finish these programs, you can do any and everything. And so it's just such a great investment from our community to support programs like the ones we just heard about today, and to do as much as we can to make sure that Congress continues to fund these programs. I congratulate you. We're so thankful to having you. And we could not afford, our city could not afford to meet all the needs in our community without you being here. So I just thank you, congratulate you, and just know that great things are going to continue to happen for you, because you are serving in this community and making such a tremendous difference. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you, President Ginther.
Councilmember Craig.
Thank you, President Ginther. I just have two words. You rock. You rock. And we mean that in the best sense of the word. I think Councilmember Tyson is well articulated, and we won't go much beyond it, but saying to all of you, the work that you're doing is so vital and so important. I see Maud Hill sitting back there and others from Homeport, and certainly I had the pleasure of working with Ms. Tyson and managing an AmeriCorps program. But she's absolutely right. The work that you will do will propel you to leadership. And that's what this is all about. For many of us, we would not be sitting here without those that have helped us and helped us mature and guided and directed us. Dwight L. Moody said this: I'm only one, but I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. And that which I can do, by the grace of God, I will do. And I want to tell every single one of you that your work is essential, it's vital, and keep doing what you're doing, because we need you, and we need you vitally. So thank you for your service.
Any other comments from council members? I know that my legislative assistant, Priyam Choksi's got a whole host of accommodations and resolutions for folks to take back to their organization. But thanks again on behalf of a grateful city for all your service. In addition to council's work in several community meetings, including one tomorrow night that'll take place at Westgate, we have the distinguished chairman of the Milo Grogan Area Commission with us this evening, Pastor Carl Lee. Pastor, would you be willing to come to the podium and give council and those here tonight just a brief update on what's going on in Milo Grogan and things that we can ways that we can continue working together in the future. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, President Ginther. First of all, oh Lord, forgive me for this. This is better than church. The wonderful things that I see going on down here when we've been coming down to the council and getting more involved and seeing all the great work that you guys are doing and the passion that you have for the people who have the passion for the people. It's a spiritual thing to me. It's just want to say that first of all. And being a Vietnam era vet, I mean, it just was all just hitting me. Something I haven't dealt with or even talked about in a long time, and saw the wall, and I thank you for that. And all you guys for all the things you're doing. Let me get on task. One of the reasons that I have come down here is to talk about the Milo Grogan Area Commission. And I have passed out, being a preacher, I have to watch my time all the time. And so my wife has said the best thing for you to do is write and read. And then since you have to read quickly, then give them something that they can have in case you go over things too fast. And I also would like to thank some of my fellow council members for coming down and supporting us, and there might be more around. First of all, just a very little bit, I want to thank President Ginther and Councilmember Paley for coming down into our area and our area commission, and John also, and giving us the attention and speaking with us. That is a real primer of the pump that we've been going, and we're really having some effectiveness, and we want to thank you for that. That was big. It may not have seemed like it, but I want to thank you guys for that. Purpose of a commission, as you guys have stated, is the area commission is to act as a liaison between neighborhood groups, property owners, residents, and developers and city officials. Now, I know the Milo Grogan Area Commission may have not been as functional as it has been in the past, but we don't look back. We're looking forward, and John said that I should speak on where we are, where we're going, and what we need. So very quickly, our area commission in the last 6 years has diligently searched for and found a great group of new commissioners with the insights, attitude, desires, and visions that line up with the duties, goals, and objectives of the commission's purpose. We now have 11 commissioners. Today, we've established viable networks and integral relationships involving and receiving input from a variety of community action agencies whose sole targeted areas is Milo Grogan area. They are the Milo Property Owners Alliance Civic Association, whom I have the chair here with us, and she is also on the commission. The Milo Business Alliance, the Family Services Council nonprofit, the Reaching RTNI is a nonprofit group that deals with the children in the area, and Aaron Starr is the executive director of that. And we also work with the Milo Development Collaboration, which is just being rolled out, really. We have a couple Block Watch organizations that we are initiating, and we're working in collaboration with a variety of community action agencies and have many projects and programs currently operating in our area. We're dealing with the Boys Club. We have, as you guys know, because you did it, a new rec center coming up. And so we are very proud of how we've been blessed to turn things around for the residents' opinion, for the opinion, hopefully, that we can reinvent and re-represent the commission as a viable organization. Talked about where we're going. We're addressing issues today of safety, health, abandoned housing, poor lighting, weeded areas, wooded areas, joblessness, and a deteriorated environment because of neglect. We feel that we have the greatest potential in all the areas in Columbus due to our location. We have a gateway to downtown, and we have access to 4 interstates, 670, 315, 71, and 70. And we also have Columbus State, and what's the name of the high school? Fort Hays in our area, or close proximity. Crime has been decreasing greatly due to a proactive, consistent actions taken by the residents and the community actions agencies in our area, and we get that report on a consistent basis at the commission from Officer Jackson, who is our liaison for the area, and we have been enjoying our report on a consistent basis, lower and lower, and now it's almost just 5 or 6 things a month, and they're usually pretty minor, and we're still going to work vigilantly at that. Our commission committees, our goals, our objectives, and our needs of the residents in the area are being recognized, along with working with these community action agencies. Now, to talk about what we need, we feel like we need funding in the right areas. We need to be Pride approved, and we have been seeking these different endeavors, like with Mark Gervais and Bruce Black with the city. We need support for our Block Watch groups and training, and we're working with Officer Jackson on that and some other people, even some people in Franklinton and some things that they're rolling out. Our nonprofits need more funding to increase the capacities beyond our volunteers, because we all operate on volunteers right now. We have many professionals in our area to get input and consultations beyond, and expenses and studies using grant monies could instead go towards programs funding to help residents learn and acquire experience needed for sustained progress. I know investors' interests are primary economically, and we appreciate that, and we love that the investors are coming down, but we have developed a new word, and you see it on the bottom of the sheet, but we deal with peoplenomics. And economics, of course, is a part of that. But we welcome it. We're not negative about it at all. As a matter of fact, we welcome it greatly. We just want to make sure that you remember the people that are involved in the area, because we have a wonderful group of people. The second sheet I'm not going to go over, but what this is that you have before you is our 4-year track record of the things that's been going on in the communities. And as you can see, there's programs and projects that have been going. We've had neighborhood cleanups that are ongoing quarterly from different nonprofits. The acronyms that you see are on the first page. That the LMNH is probably not on there. That's Look Mom, No Hands. And we've been doing a lot of work with Habitat for Humanity with Mid-Ohio. They have had some of the AmeriCorps, wonderful AmeriCorps people come down and do what they call Rock the Block, where we helped elderly clean the houses and do minor repairs on their homes and power wash their houses and painting and scraping. And we've been having projects ongoing like that that is causing a lot of more resident engagement. So as you can see on the second sheet, this is where we are, this is where we're going, and that's what we feel like we need. And I got present with me some commissioners, and that's one reason I wanted to go through this pretty quick. I have some commissioners with me. If we have any time, we can briefly introduce them, and they can introduce themselves and tell you some of their committee work. And I only have a few, but as you know, we have 11. And as you guys are busy, you know, busy people are the ones you get to do things. So I thank you for the time that we have here, and most of all, you guys fascinate me with the work that you're doing, and to me, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Do we have time?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman. Good evening.
Good evening, President Ginther and City Council members. My name is Muriel Ziegler. I'm a Milo Grogan Property Owners Civic Association member, and also I'm the chair, and I'm also a member of the Area Commission. I would like to say thank you for all your support thus far, and for attending our Area Association, our Area Commission meeting back in March. We are developing a strong faith with our stakeholders that identify to all of our assets to recreate a complete and different attitude among ourselves that will engage stepping stones to building a new development with Milo Grogan's neighborhood plan. With all this in mind, and with Pastor Lee being such a diligent minister to our neighborhood, we are working towards improving standards that will keep Milo Grogan clean, safe, family-worthy, and united. By utilizing all of our resources given to us by the consultants for Milo Grogan that have been provided for us. Our future plans for Milo Grogan will be to keep the historic infrastructure intact with educational values towards improving economic developments. So I'm a proud member of Milo Grogan. I was born and raised there. I raised my children there, and it has been through a lot of changes. Positive as well as negative, but that's the balance of Mother Nature, I would say. But I'm here to represent our area, and I'm working diligently with the neighborhood to just bring about a change with being more consistent in things that we want to say and do, and I know that we can reach all of our accomplishments. Thank you so much for having us here today.
Amen. Amen, excuse me, as a habit. You have met Miro, I think, before, but maybe this is your first time, I don't know. But this is Pastor Daisy Milner coming up, who's a commission member now. And I remember when I was a little boy in the area, she was running around doing work in the area then, keeping the kids straight. So I want to introduce her as one of the commissioners also.
I am Pastor Daisy L. Milner, been in the community for 52 years. I've seen some rise and fall of neighborhood, and I am proud to say that the neighborhood is coming back on its own with our hard work. I'm grateful for all the things that the commissioners are doing in our neighborhood, and I am grateful for the people who are taking great concern in our neighborhood. And as Pastor Lee mentioned, the crime area is better. We had so many kids standing on the corner, watch the blocks. We had to watch the block. I am one of the block watchers, and I am so happy to see that the kids that stand on the corner is no longer there. Through our hard work, through our walking down the street, correcting, and so many other things. Thanks.
Now, you might know Rick Mann, because he may be one of the longest standing members on the commission. And I'm going to bring Rick Mann up as he's on our historical committee.
Hello. It's not my first time here.
First time, Rick?
It's not my first time here.
Well, I didn't think so.
But thanks for having us, President Ginther and council people. I asked this gentleman to go on the commission about 5 or 6 years ago, and thankfully he did. And I'm thrilled with the work he and other new commissioners are doing. I've been a little bit more in the background, had my hands filled with the large project I've been working on for now 30 years this March. So my charge on the commission is Historic Committee, and of course I'm very concerned about historic buildings, not only the one I'm involved with, the Milo Arts Building, but others in the neighborhood. And back in the deep, dark past, I got the New Indianola Historic District done and a few other things. And so I'm trying to bring that same respect for history to Milo. And the other thing I'm working on is with Daisy, forming a block watch. So thanks for having us, and thanks for the good work you're doing.
Once again, we thank you for your attention. We thank you for the development that you're approving. We thank you for all the things that we're doing. We want you to know we appreciate it, and we're not only going to talk about it, we're going to work with you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for coming down this evening and for bringing your colleagues with you. It's important that we continue highlighting the great work that our commissioners do at the neighborhood level and all the work we do together to improve quality of life in neighborhoods. Any questions or comments from any of the other council members? Thank you very much for the information and for the update. Look forward to seeing you in Milo Grogan soon. Any announcements or statements from City Auditor, City Attorney? If there aren't any motions for anything to be removed, requests for anything to be removed from the consent action portion of the agenda from council members, may we now have a motion to waive reading of the titles of 30-day legislation by the city clerk?
So moved.
Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller Mills, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. Will the clerk now read into the record the ordinance numbers of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
Development Committee, Ordinance 804-2013. Technology Committee, Ordinance 703-2013 and 805-2013. Public Safety and Judiciary Committee, Ordinance 1979-2012. Public Utilities Committee, Ordinance 384-2013. And Zoning Committee, Ordinance 780-2013.
The following ordinances appear in our agenda as consent actions. Will the clerk now read the ordinance numbers of each into the record?
Finance Committee, Ordinance 781-2013. Development Committee, Ordinances 723, 724, 725, 727, 728, and 729-2013. Recreation and Parks Committee, Ordinance 711-2013. Public Safety and Judiciary Committee, Ordinances 830 and 831-2013. Public Service and Transportation Committee, Ordinances 2689-2012. Ordinances 744, 752, 758, 783, 802, and 811-2013. Public Utilities Committee, Ordinances 401, 522, 547, 556, 558, 575, 579, 635, 642, 648, 688, 796-2013, and appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0069, 70, 80, and 81-2013.
Thank you. May I have a motion for approval of these items designated as consent actions?
So moved.
Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller Mills, Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Consent agenda carries. We will now proceed with the second reading of 30-day table and emergency legislation. The first committee is the Workforce Development Committee. Councilmember Tyson chairs that committee. Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. I have ordinance number 0649-2013 to authorize the Executive Director of the Civil Service Commission to enter into a not-for-profit service contract with the Central Ohio Workforce Investment Corporation, known as COWIC, for the 2013 Restoration Academy project, to authorize expenditure of $195,000 from the general fund and to declare an emergency. I'm going to ask Director Amy DeLong to come to the podium. Also, I'm going to ask Mr. Cradle as well as Mr. Jose Feliciano to come up to the podium to talk about the legislation. Thank you.
President Ginther, Chair Tyson, and other members of council, thank you for the opportunity to speak concerning the Restoration Academy tonight. I have asked the two individuals to come up here with me today, and these two individuals are responsible for the day-to-day management of the Restoration Academy this year, and I would like them to tell you about their roles in that adventure. Jose?
Thank you, President Ginther, Chair Tyson, other committee members, council members, excuse me. Restoration Academy, and I'm going to assume most people don't know what Restoration Academy is, a project spearheaded, the brainchild of Mayor Michael B. Coleman. And we owe him a great amount of thanks and gratitude for establishing a precedent-setting program. The goal of the Restoration Academy is to provide 15 individuals who have employment barriers, felony backgrounds, and the such, with a rigorous, intensive 6-month internship program leading to employment opportunities. Last year's Restoration Academy resulted in 9 full-time employment with the City of Columbus and 2 additional individuals with private sector employers. This year we're hoping to expand the private sector employment participation by trying to achieve 5 to 7 private sector employments in addition to the city employments that Amy DeLong has pretty much organized. So, moving forward, what we want to highlight is the collaboration effort of the partners beyond the collaboration with the City of Columbus. I'd like to mention Alvis House, also the Columbus Neighborhood Health Centers, the Columbus Public Health, Columbus Urban League, Impact Community Action, YMCA of Central Ohio, Henkels and McCoy, and Columbus State Community College. That's the partnership providing services, wraparound services, supportive services to the 15 individuals, all free of charge to them. I'd like to now introduce Tarika Cradle, who is a graduate of last year's Restoration Academy.
President Ginther, Chair Tyson, and other members of council, I thank you for allowing me this opportunity to tell you about the importance of the Restoration Academy. Restoration Academy changed my life, and it has given me hope for me and my family's future. My personal experience as a participant in the Restoration Academy was very challenging. As many of you may know, I worked at Recreation and Parks in 90-degree weather all summer long last year. There were many times that I wanted to give up and quit, but I told myself that something good is going to come out of this experience. Therefore, I set out to do something that was out of my norm. So I continued on with Recreation and Parks until the end of the summer, and then moved forward to work in Director DeLong's office. Taking on the job, I took the job on head first. I learned many skills that I could use at home now. In addition, I learned that what don't kill me will make me stronger. This experience certainly made me stronger. I enjoyed the experience. I'm very grateful for the outcome that it brought. Today, I absolutely love my job. I love it. Restoration Academy was a life-changing event for me and 12 others who graduated from the program. We were very thankful for Mayor Michael B. Coleman, who was willing to stand up for us and say that we deserved a second chance and to all of you, the council members who believe in this program or are willing to support it. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for creating this program and supporting us in this program. It is a very, very good cause, and I look forward to helping the new individuals and look forward to seeing this go further than this.
Thank you. Amy, you have further comments?
She's very humble. She's actually our coordinator of the Restoration Academy this year, and she was selected because of her outstanding leadership in the program last year, and we are very thankful to have her in our office. She has done an outstanding job this year. Last year, when the brainchild came into fruition, it was given to civil service, which was wonderful because I have learned so much about a segment of our population that I knew nothing about. And I did not understand the barriers. And now I understand that very small things in someone's life, like being in a car accident, having a DUI, that can stop you from it can take your license away if you're in certain occupations and cause you never to be able to have a job in that career. So someone who has a master's degree, outstanding qualifications, had that one mistake in their life that's ruined their whole life, their career, and has actually stopped them from being able to provide for their family. This is an opportunity for them, a second chance and maybe a whole new career. I mean, Tarika would have never thought about being in recs and parks and heat and running a lawnmower, doing any of that equipment. But because she persevered through that, we saw in her something that maybe we wouldn't have if she wouldn't have had this chance. So this is a wonderful program. I'm very excited to be a part of it. I have two great partners this year that are going to allow us to do more than we've ever done. We're going to have a more rigorous program, and I'm excited about continuing this into the future, and we thank you and hope for your support tonight in this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Director DeLong. And as I've just said, and Ms. Cradle certainly is, I'm not sharing at all, she was the graduation speaker for the program last year and just gave an amazing speech at the graduation. But this certainly is such an important program, and as Mr. Long mentioned, or Mr. Feliciano, that we certainly want to make sure that we're really being a kind of a trailblazer, because what we want to see happen is that we want our private sector businesses to give people a second chance. And so we certainly are, walking the talk by making sure that we are hiring people that have demonstrated that they deserve to have that second chance. And as Ms. Cradle just said, she went from pushing that lawnmower in Recreation and Parks to now being the manager of the program for Restoration Academy. And so we're so proud of her and all the other individuals who have successfully graduated, and look forward to successful graduations this year. And just want to say thank you to the mayor, thank you to this council for funding this program last year, and would hope for the support of this year. And also thank those individuals, those other, thank COWIC, but also all the collaborating organizations that are supporting the people in this program. And so with that, I would like to move for passage. Oh, I'm sorry, I have a speaker. I'm so sorry. I have Mr. Nathaniel Wilkins. Good evening, Mr. Wilkins.
Good evening. My name is Nate Wilkins, 1612 Arlington Avenue, Chairman, solely vacant abandonment property. First of all, let me say thank you. I got two questions to ask all of you. What age, and I do believe that people should give a second chance to this, to turn their life around and get a clean record. And once again, I think this is the right money to be used for. And again, I want to say thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkins, for coming down and support this legislation. I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. I have one announcement, and that is next Thursday, April the 18th at 5:30 p.m., the Health and Human Services Committee will host a public hearing to discuss minority health. April is Minority Health Month, and the hearing is an opportunity for us to highlight the state of health care for the minority communities in Columbus. Representatives from the Columbus Office of Minority Health will present valuable information to the committee. Residents who wish to testify may do so by completing a speaker slip on the day of the hearing, and this hearing will be televised live and replayed on CTV. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Our next committee is the Administration Committee. Councilmember Craig chairs that committee. Mr. Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. Tonight in the Administration Committee, I have Ordinance 0743-2013 to authorize the Director of the Department of Human Resources to accept a cash award of $1,000 from United Healthcare for the Well-Deserved Award and to appropriate $1,000 from the unappropriated balance of the Employee Benefits Fund. Now, the City of Columbus is one of 10 employers in the United Healthcare's National Book of Business to be awarded the 2012 Well-Deserved Award for its commitment to fostering a workplace culture that is supportive of employees' health and wellness. City leadership believes that a healthy culture creates a healthier and more productive workforce, which increased efficiencies and more cost-effective service delivery. The city offers and promotes comprehensive programs and policies that encourage employees and family members to get active, make good nutrition choices, quit tobacco, manage diabetes and other chronic diseases, and receive free preventative health screenings and flu shots. The Healthy Columbus program is a critical component of a larger strategy to reduce health care costs incurred by the City of Columbus. This ordinance authorizes the Director of the Department of Human Resources to accept the award. The department plans to use the funds to provide employees with education and tools they need to make informed decisions to reduce unnecessary utilization of the emergency room and medical services. The Well-Deserved Award comes with a cash prize, as I said, of $1,000. The Employees Benefits Fund appropriation level and cash balance will be increased by $1,000. Director Christie, any further comments regarding this? Is certainly a wonderful, most powerful award. It's certainly an exceptional recognition for the department and your staff and your work.
President Ginther, Chairman Craig, members of council, good evening. I think, as all of you know, the health of employees in any organization has a direct impact on an employer's bottom line and the overall well-being of the workforce. Effective worksite wellness programs, policies, and strategies contribute significantly to the reduction in health risks and improves the quality of life for millions of employees throughout our country. Effective wellness programs are good for business as well, because when employees are healthier, it typically leads to greater productivity, more efficient service delivery, reduced absenteeism, and certainly better management of healthcare costs. It's for that reason that, and probably several others, that United Healthcare in 2008 developed the Well-Deserved Award. The award recognizes employers who demonstrate their commitment to improving the health and well-being of their employees by promoting wellness programs, demonstrating that wellness is an integral part of their organization's business strategy, and by using innovative and creative ways to engage employees in their wellness programs. Each year, United Healthcare selects 20 employers from their entire book of business. Their book of business includes, I believe, about 450 employers nationwide. From that group, they select 20, 10 of which are selected for their honorable mention award, and then another 10 are actually awarded the Well-Deserved Award. In 2011, the City of Columbus received the honorable mention designation, and in 2012, we were very fortunate to be selected among the well-deserved recipients because of the development of programs and effective wellness and disease management programs throughout the city. As Councilman Craig has already alluded to, these programs include a myriad of disease prevention programs, including our diabetes prevention program. It also addresses a number of health and fitness programs that focus on weight loss, healthy eating, nutrition, and exercise. The one other area that they did specifically reference that I think is worthy of mention is that we, on an annual basis, do a number of free and health and benefits fairs, and those fairs are intended to afford a myriad of different health screenings that typically will facilitate early diagnosis and effective treatment of blood pressure, cholesterol, and other related illnesses. And I think that's an effective part of our overall wellness program. We're very proud recipients of the award, but we're only able to implement wellness and disease management programs of this nature because of the mayor's commitment to wellness and ensuring that city employees are afforded opportunities to participate in these programs, as well as providing our wellness coordinator and that team all the necessary resources to have the appropriate outreach and engagement of our employees. Also want to briefly thank the leadership of our unions because of the partnership with them, we're able to promote these programs among their members. And finally, but certainly not least, I want to thank all of you, the members of council, for your continued support of all of our programmatic efforts to advance health and wellness throughout the workforce. As Chairman Craig indicated, this ordinance will authorize us to receive the $1,000 cash award that comes with the well-deserved award, and that will be reinvested into the Healthy Columbus programs. I respectfully urge your passage of the ordinance, and thank you for your continued support.
Thank you for your comments, Director Christie. Yes, Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you, Chairman Craig, and I want for this legislation, but also said congratulations to you, Director Christie, and certainly the wellness and disease prevention programs are so important to the employees of the City of Columbus. I know you have, I just saw a sign in the building where there's another health fair coming up that's going to be at the Police Academy. I've had the opportunity to attend many of those health and benefit fairs, and certainly see the employees that are there, and just really do appreciate your commitment to ensuring that, doing what you can to ensure that our employees have the best health benefits, and also being able to identify if there's any medical issues ahead of time through these programs. So congratulations on this well-deserved award, and just really appreciate all the work that you're doing for us as employees here at the City of Columbus. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chairman Craig.
You're certainly welcome. Thank you, Ms. Tyson. Any additional comments? Again, Director, let me thank you again. Certainly, Mayor Coleman and your work and your staff, the administration, organized labor, and all concerned. Certainly, our employees who do a tremendous job for the City of Columbus. Thank you very much. If there are no additional questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Next is Ordinance 0816-2013 to accept the Memorandum of Understanding number 2013-01 executed between the representatives of the City of Columbus and the Columbus Municipal Association of Government Employees, or CMAJ, CWA Local 4502, which amends the collective bargaining contract April the 24th, 2011 through April the 23rd, 2014, and to declare an emergency. The collective bargaining contract with the City of Columbus and the Columbus Municipal Association of Government Employees, CMAJ, and CWA Local 4502 requires that any modifications to the contract be agreed upon between the parties. The Memorandum of Understanding number 2013-01 has been executed by the parties to amend Appendix B classification list by assigning a pay grade to the classification of EMS Education Manager, to modify the pay grade assigned to the classification of EMS Instructor 2 to be more competitive with the market. The passage of this ordinance indicates Council's acceptance of the Memorandum of Understanding number 2013-01, a copy of which is attached here too. Emergency action is recommended in order to implement the terms of the Memorandum of Understanding in a timely manner. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Finally, is ordinance 0832-2013 to comply with OPERS requirements regarding recognition of pickup of contributions for employees covered by the Management Compensation Plan and to declare an emergency. This ordinance is necessary for the City of Columbus to comply with the Ohio Public Employees Retirement System, or OPERS requirements regarding recognition of pickup of employees' contributions to aid in the proper recognition of employee pickup or pre-tax contributions. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. That is all that I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Craig. Our next committee is the Development Committee. Councilmember Klein chairs that committee. Mr. Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. First in development, 0690-2013, to authorize the Director of Department of Development or designee to acquire and maintain properties within the East Franklinton planning area and to execute any and all documents necessary for conveyance of title, to authorize the City Auditor to cancel an encumbrance, to amend the 2013 capital improvements budget, to authorize the appropriation of $239,791.32 in the Northland and Other Acquisitions Fund, to transfer the cash between projects within the Northland and Other Acquisitions Fund, to authorize the expenditure of $410,000 from the Northland and Other Acquisitions Fund, and to declare an emergency. Any questions or comments? This ordinance goes hand in hand with the discussion we had last week about the acquisition taking place in Franklinton, as well as the appropriation that this council authorized last week with NextGen. I move for passage.
Second.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
0823-2013, to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to execute a partial release of mortgages and partial release of restrictive covenants between the City of Columbus, Department of Development, and Framingham Homes Limited Partnership for the purposes of releasing single-family units from the lien and restrictions that were beyond the scope of city funding, and to declare an emergency. Ms. Brandon, if you could just give us some insight, or maybe Ms. Parise give us some insight on what this legislation is.
Thank you, Chairman Klein, President Ginther, and members of council. This legislation authorizes the Director of Development to execute partial releases of mortgages, as Chairman Klein mentioned. The project that we are talking about consists of 86 rental units, 9 of which were financed with City of Columbus home funds in 1996. The project owners have requested that 22 of those properties, those are single family. So of the 86, 22 are single family, 64 are multifamily. The request here is to release the mortgages on the 22 single family homes, and the hope is that those properties will be sold to qualified home buyers, some of which currently live in those properties.
Any questions or comments? I move for passage.
Second.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Moving on to Recreation and Parks, President Ginther. 747-2013, to authorize and direct the appropriation of $20,000 within the Neighborhood Initiatives Fund, to direct the transfer and appropriation of $20,000 from the Neighborhood Initiatives Fund to the Recreation and Parks Operating Fund for expenditures related to late-night basketball programs, and to declare an emergency. This is a council amendment that originated by folks that came down to council that suggested that we expand the late-night basketball programming that we have here in the City of Columbus. So we will now have 5 sites. The original 4 sites were Douglas on Monday, Dodge on Tuesday, Driving Park on Wednesday, and Woodward Park on Thursday. Basketball is June 10th to August 2nd. We'll be adding Marion Franklin on Fridays, and we'll also be extending it from 6 to 10 to 6 to 11 by adding the age group 18 to 22. So thank the community for the input that it provided in suggesting that this is an opportunity for 18 to 22-year-olds, as well as other kids and young adults that are perhaps maybe on the street, give them into a rec center to play some basketball, something that's near and dear to my heart. Any questions or comments? I'd like to thank Director McKnight for working with me and making this legislation possible and extending the hours and adding a site to make this happen. I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
That wraps it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Klein. Our next committee is the Technology Committee. President Pro Tem Miller chairs that committee. Mr. Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. In the Technology Committee tonight, we have one item, 738-2013, to authorize the Director of Department of Technology to enter into a one-year agreement with G3 Technology Partners for services in support of the city's interactive voice response system, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Codes, to authorize the expenditure of $103,711.95 from the Department of Technology Information Services Division Internal Services Fund, and to declare an emergency. The IVR system supports the city's 311, the utilities call centers, as well as the technology help desks. Services provided under this agreement are the annual maintenance and support services, the training services, and also the professional services for emergency technical support. And I believe the waive of competitive bidding is there in order to extend the existing contract for another year in order to prepare for the competitive bidding procurement process to collect more information for that process by extending this one extra year. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
And that is all we have in the Technology Committee, President Ginther.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What I'd like to do at this point is entertain a motion to recess regular meeting number 17 and go on to zoning.
So move.
Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
We are recessed from regular meeting number 17 and reconvene for zoning momentarily. Come to order. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal?
So moved.
Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Are there any communications and reports received by the city clerk?
No, there are not.
Are there any first readings of 30-day legislation?
No, there are not.
Thank you. We will now go to the zoning committee. President Pro Tem Miller chairs the committee. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, President Ginther. In the Zoning Committee tonight, we have three items. The first one is 739-2013 to rezone 620 Georgesville Road, being .72 plus or minus acres, located at the southeast corner of Georgesville Road and Atlanta Drive, from CPD Commercial Plan Development District to CPD Commercial Plan Development District. The applicant is MJ Enterprises, LLC. The proposed use is to expand allowable commercial uses for an existing car wash development. It received a Development Commission recommendation for approval, the Greater Hilltop Area Commission recommendation for approval, and finally the City Department recommendation for approval. If there are no questions or comments, I'd like to first request to waive second reading.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I'd like to move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Next is 768-2013 to rezone 3537 Klein Road, being 1.5 plus or minus acres, located at the southwest corner of Klein and Demarest Roads, from C4 Commercial and CPD Commercial Plan Development District to CPD Commercial Plan Development District. The applicant is United Dairy Farmers Incorporated. Proposed use is fuel sales in conjunction with convenience retail. It received the Development Commission recommendation for approval, the Greater Hilltop Area Commission recommendation for approval, and finally the City Department recommendation for approval. If there are no questions or comments, I'd like to first request to admin as submitted to the clerk.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I would like to move for passage.
Craig Klein Miller, Mills Paley Tyson, President Ginther.
And last is 771, 2013, to rezone 2333 Morris Road, being 1.29 plus or minus acres, located on the south side of Morris Road, 69 plus or minus feet east of Malin Street, from C4 Commercial District to C5 Commercial District. The applicant will be the City of Columbus, Department of Finance and Management. This is under the Fleet Management Division. Proposed use is the compressed natural gas fueling station. It received a Development Commission recommendation for approval and also the City Department, of course, recommendation for approval. And before I ask for passage, I do have one speaker slip, and it's Mr. Dave Paul from the Northland Community Council. And he has indicated that he is for this piece. And
Indeed.
Mr. Paul, welcome back to council. And
Thank
you
you,
have
Chairman
3
Miller.
minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Miller, President Ginther, members of council. I'll keep my comments brief because I don't think there's a speaker against, but I did want to take a moment just to share with you that there are at least 3 reasons I would like to express support for this application. One is that the Northland Community Council Development Committee, which, as you know, does fulfill the role of an area commission in our area of Columbus, did hear this case. We had a presentation from Bill Burns and Kelly Riggin of the Fleet Management Division, and our committee did vote on January 30th to recommend approval of this application, voted unanimously, in fact. So the first thing to share with you is that the Northland Community Council does support it. Secondly, I personally had the pleasure of serving on the Mayor's Reform and Accountability Committee, the 8-member committee that reviewed cost savings efforts on the part of the city, and we recently completed our work and compiled our final report. It's been submitted now to the city, and among the things that we wanted to call attention to were the savings in the Fleet Management Division of, at this point, we're projecting $3,610,000 worth of savings over the roughly 10-year period that we were asked to look at. And of that, one of the components of that was the conversion of the city's fleet to compressed natural gas, which is what this application will help facilitate. So that's another reason to recommend your approval and to express support for it. The last is I'm also a member of the Board of Trustees of a group called Transit Columbus. And as many of you know, that group advocates for better transit alternatives and alternative energy and so forth. As you also probably know, COTA has just recently taken delivery of the first of its new CNG buses and will be converting its entire fleet. So I see this basically sort of fitting into the picture of becoming a more green city, more responsible city in terms of fuel and the environment. And so yet another reason that I'd like to express support for this application and encourage your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Those are great points, and this is also my support of the city being efficient and also effective. Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you, Chairman Miller, and thank you for coming down, Mr. Paul. This will be, I'm obviously in support of this, and this will be our second CNG station, and this one located on Morse Road is it's very important because it will be at nearby our Morse Road Eco Center, which is our refuse transfer station, and it's also will be within the service area of the 25th Avenue, our planning and operations yard. So this really will help us to be able to make sure that the fleet that's in that area will be able to get their compressed natural gas in a location that will help them to be able to do their work more efficiently and effectively. So thank you for this legislation, and thank you, Mr. Paul.
Thank you for your comments, Councilmember Tyson. Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Thank you.
With that said, I would like to move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
And that is all we have in zoning tonight, President Ginther.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's nothing else to come before zoning this evening. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Regular meeting number 18 stands adjourned. We will reconvene for regular meeting number 17 momentarily. Entertain a motion to reconvene regular meeting number 17.
So moved.
Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
We are reconvened. Our next committee is the Public Safety and Judiciary Committee. Councilmember Mills chairs that committee. Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. Tonight in Public Safety and Judiciary are the following ordinances, beginning with Ordinance 0745-2013, to authorize the Director of the Department of Finance and Management to enter into contract with PAR Public Safety Equipment, Inc. for the purchase of upfitting for 29 police cruisers for the Division of Police, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Codes 1959, to authorize the expenditure of $164,537.30 from the Special Income Tax Fund, and to declare an emergency. The vehicles that are highlighted in this particular ordinance includes a Model 2013 Interceptor Taurus, which will replace existing police cruisers that currently are high mileage and high maintenance and certainly are scheduled for replacement. The competitive bidding waiving is our efforts to getting these vehicles into service as quickly as possible so that we can continue to support the efforts of fleet management in terms of controlling costs. They're working hard to make sure that costs are controlled, and getting these vehicles upfitted now before waiting on the rest of the purchase for the remainder of the year will allow us to continue on the path of creating savings that way. Again, this will allow us to put these 29 vehicles for the later purchase of additional 50. The upfitting includes all of the communications infrastructure, GPS, installation of the light bars, and all of the other pieces that allow our Division of Police to be effective in their vehicles. If there are no other comments or questions, I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you. Next, I have Ordinance 0813-2013 to authorize the appropriation of $25,000 from the Home Incarceration Program Fund to the Franklin County Municipal Court for funding of electronic monitoring services and to declare an emergency. This legislation is considered an emergency measure to ensure that the continuation of this program is uninterrupted payments to our vendors who support this program. If there are no other comments or questions, I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
That concludes the ordinances for this evening in Public Safety and Judiciary. I have one announcement, President Ginther, if you allow me the opportunity. I just wanted to encourage the residents in the city to take a look at the Division of Fire's 2012 annual report, and there's information regarding the activity and all of that for our Division of Fire, and it has the information by station in terms of runs. It's quite a bit of good educational information. It can be found online on the city's website. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Mills. Our next committee is the Public Service and Transportation Committee. Councilmember Paley chairs that committee. Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Ginther. In Public Service and Transportation this evening, we have an ordinance 0647-2013 to authorize the Director of Public Service to expend $983,137 or so much thereof as may be necessary to reimburse the street construction, maintenance, and repair fund for traffic sign and signal installation, permanent pavement marking, roadway improvement design, and construction expenses, salaries, overhead, overtime materials, and other direct costs incurred by the fund in connection with the Division of Planning and Operations Capital Improvements Program in 2013. To amend the 2013 CIB to authorize and transfer expenditures of money within the Street and Highway GO Bond Fund for the Department of Public Service and to declare an emergency. I do have a speaker slip for Mr. Dana Messner. Mr. Messner, as you approach the podium, if you could please state your name and if any organization you represent.
Good evening, Council. Dana Messner, and I'm representing the Near East Area Commission, District 1 tonight, which includes the Lincoln Theater area, King Arts Center, Poindexter Village area. And the particular issue I'm addressing on this legislation is street construction and roadway improvement design. In front of the Lincoln Theater, we have utilities going underground. And as I spoke last week under non-agenda items, we have an issue of our existing sandstone curbs. What we have are the original Berea sandstone curbs installed in the 1870s in our historic neighborhood. Now, last week I referred to the fact that we had 12 of these 6'6", 19 inches thick, 7 inches wide, stone stacked curbs at Monroe and Long. And Director Kelsey was not aware of that. That's fine. Council, I believe, said, we want to find out, or could you please look into that? Now, I called Mr. Rick Rosati and Tom Murphy today and had 3 different conversations. And I said, I would like to know what the city's policy is regarding these sandstone curbs, particularly in my neighborhood, because with the PAC project during the next 5 years, we will have significant construction in our historic streets that have these sandstone curbs. I said, I would like to know the city policy for 1, the removal of, 2, storage, 3, reinstallation. Now, Mr. Willis Brown of the Bronzeville Neighborhood Association and myself have spoke at City Council. I have spoke before the Near East Area Commission on this for the last 6 years in our planning committee about the stones. I always ask, and we get no response. Neither of these gentlemen could tell me much except for there is a storage. They try to save when they can, and they go up to 25th and 5th, roughly that storage yard. That's information we already know. What we are saying is, and I reiterate again, we have people with disposable income now moving into our neighborhood who have asked me, my constituents asked me, what are those big stones stored over there? Those are like in German Village. We have people now who are buying big houses who want to keep the historic infrastructure we have, which is our stone curbs and our brick streets. Now, I would like somebody to either instigate a conversation so we have a policy, or let us on the Near East Area Commission create one and give it to you and have you sign off on it. Because I'm telling you, with all the development in Poindexter Village, all the development on Mount Vernon, there's going to be a lot of stone that's going to be removed, and we want it to be included. Do we need to have some kind of contract arrangement with the architect in pre-development where we say, okay, we want to set aside so our stones are reinstalled because we want to keep the historic fabric? That's what set us apart from other neighborhoods. Now, like I said last week, we had all those stones removed from St. Clair 2 years ago from Mount Vernon to Leonard Avenue. They were stacked up, many of them, hundreds of them, and they all disappeared, but we don't have them back in our neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Mr. Messner, I have met with Director Kelsey in the Department of Public Service and Transportation. We have looked into that matter, and in fact, I'm going to ask Director Kelsey to report back to City Council as well as to you right now. Director Kelsey.
Thank you. President Ginther, Chair Paley, other members of the Council. Yes, pursuant to Mr. Messner's request last week, I looked into this. This is what we found with respect to this project that's at Long and Hamilton that extends to Garfield and a little further, a little bit south on Garfield. We found that are known and were known at the initiation of this particular construction project, which just started in, I think, February or March, any sandstone curb on Long Street, nor at Hamilton. There were some sandstone curbs on Garfield extending south on Garfield, on the west side about 360 feet, and on the east side about 361 feet. Between February 1st and February 4th of this year, the sandstone curb on the east side of Garfield was removed. About half of it, about 181 feet, was salvageable, and that is in the 25th yard as we speak. The other half, about 180 feet, was not salvageable. Now, it should be noted at the outset, sandstone curbs are not made anymore. On the west side, between March 22nd and March 25th, the 360 feet of sandstone curb was removed. This sandstone curb was in great disrepair. Only 42 feet of the 360 on the west side was salvageable. Again, that resides now in our 25th yard. Mr. Mesner brought this to our attention on April 1. So by April 1, both of these curbs were already fixed with concrete. So concrete was installed as the general practice that we employ at the Department of Public Service pursuant to the construction plans that the contractor had. We again consulted with the Department of Development, and Department of Development indicated that this area is not a historic site. So as such, we did not have in the plans and did not intend to put back anything that was salvageable. And again, it should be noted that on the west side, only 42 feet was salvageable, and on the east side of Garfield, 181 feet was salvageable. So it's, right now, we have concrete curbs extending in the project limits from Long Street running south on Garfield on both sides to the end terminus of the project limit. That's all I can report at this stage.
Councilmember Tyson.
I have a question. I recognize the fact that we've already replaced the curb with concrete curbs. So I guess moving forward, do we know if there are, if there's any other construction that's going to happen in this community? Are there any other sandstone curbs in this community?
President Ginther, Chair Paley, Councilmember Tyson, and other members of council, there's ongoing construction projects all over the city, especially with respect to curbs. The curbs in this area, some were almost parallel with the roadway, some were an inch or two above. Some of the sandstone curb, as I've indicated, is in great disrepair. In this particular area, running further south on Garfield on either side, there is still more sandstone curb. Some of it we looked at is in great disrepair, and pursuant to our practices and our policy, when we have the money, we would replace those sandstone curbs with concrete, because again, it's not an historic district, and again, some of it is in great disrepair. Some of this is well over 100 years old, as was mentioned by the speaker, and some of it is worn out, like many other instances in many other places around the city.
So to put it in, because we did some research on it too, that normally what you can do, just so you understand, you can actually take out the granite curb stones and turn them upside down. Sandstones, and turn them upside down and reuse them. And we tried to do that. We were going to go back and look and see if we were able to do that, but we're unable because number one, it was already done, and number two, because the stone that was in there wasn't long enough or in better enough repair to use. So, and then the other question that you're asking is, what is the policy with regards to this or any other neighborhood? And that is something else that we're going to look at. Right now, because there is no limestone that's made, sandstone that's made, we have to decide you know, what you're going to do with what sandstone you have. If you don't have enough to reuse for that project, do you take it from another part of town? Those are things that we are going to look at and make some determinations on a case-by-case basis, I guess.
If I
Thank
may
you.
add,
I just wanted to ask, my question really is, I think it behooves communities, if they have sandstone curbs, and we're going to have, construction in those neighborhoods, the best thing, I guess, one idea may be for those communities, they can take an inventory of what sandstone in the sandstone in their community. And that's what I was going to ask. Since we're talking right now about the Near East Side, if there are sandstone curbs, they can, Mr. Masner, they can look at the community and just see that the sandstone curbs are there. That's number one. Number two, that I think that we need to see if the majority of them are in disrepair. If they are, then that's something. Then obviously, if we have to replace them, it's not going to be replaced probably with sandstone. But I think that this needs to be. They can do an inventory of it. They can share it with Councilmember Paley and Director Kelsey, so that going into it, it's known that this is in disrepair. We don't have enough, if that is the case, or whatever the case may be. But since you only heard about it April 1st, there's not a whole lot you could have done about it. But I guess moving forward, I think that we definitely need to have an inventory of the sidewalks, so that we don't necessarily have to deal with this issue in this way again. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Then I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Next, I have Ordinance 683, 2013, to authorize the Director of Department of Finance and Management to enter into a contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation and a yet-to-be-named vendor for the purchase of rock salt based on the terms of the cooperative purchase contract to be established by ODOT, and to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to establish blanket purchase orders for rock salt, and to authorize the expenditure of $1,398,160 from the Municipal Motor Vehicle License Tax Fund, $10,000 from the Sewage System Operating Fund, and $45,000 from the Water System Operating Fund. This ordinance will allow the city to purchase rock salt and be ready to go for the 2013-2014 winter season. Rock salt is used extensively for snow and ice control and removal on the city's roadway system. The city purchases salt through a statewide consortium led by ODOT. That consortium includes the state of Ohio, the city of Columbus, and other cities, counties, and townships statewide. The city has saved taxpayer dollars since joining the consortium, beginning with the winter of 2010 and 2011. During the past winter, the city paid nearly $51 per ton for salt, compared to more than $58,000 just 1 year before. The savings are even better when you consider the numbers before the city joined the ODOT-led consortium. Back in the winter of 2009 and 2010, the city paid more than $63 per ton for salt. I would like to thank Director Kelsey and his team for their leadership on this project. This is another example of coordination between intergovernmental agencies in order to be more efficient and effective. If there are no other comments or questions, I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
I know. That's all we have in public service and transportation this evening. May I move on to public utilities? In public utilities, we have Ordinance 0770, 2013, to authorize the city auditor to allow the Division of Power to use bond fund monies to reimburse the operating fund and to transfer $200,000 within the electricity GEO bond fund to amend the 2013 capital improvements budget for costs incurred for new customer development and to declare an emergency. This legislation authorizes the city auditor to permit the Division of Power to use bond fund monies to reimburse the operating fund for capital eligible costs incurred for customer development in 2013. This includes operating costs for materials and supplies for new customers utilizing the city for their power needs and existing customers who are upgrading their service. This ordinance will allow the Department of Public Utilities to offset the material costs for customers connecting to our power system. The capital fund will reimburse the operating fund for these costs, and the Division of Power may negotiate with current potential customers regarding the cost of their hookup to Columbus Power. This ability to negotiate the hookup costs will allow the city to be competitive with other providers. This fund will allow the Department of Public Utilities to plan for future growth in the core city of our power division. I would like to thank Director Davies and his team for their leadership in this project. And if there are no comments or questions, I move for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
That's all we have on public utilities, President Ginther. I would like to request to amend as submitted to clerk. I would like to entertain a motion to reconsider, please.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
And a request to amend as submitted by the clerk.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
And a request for passage.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Thank you, President. That's all we have in public utilities this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Paley. Anything else to come before council this evening? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. We do have 5 non-agenda speakers we'll take momentarily.
So move.
Is there a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Craig Klein, Miller, Mills, Paley, Tyson, President Ginther.
Stand in adjournment. Take non-agenda speakers momentarily.